get started. Welcome to the Preparing for and Managing Intrusive Questions theme. You and the child you are adopting are likely to encounter intrusive questions from family, friends, and strangers. It is important to plan how you will manage these questions while putting the child's interest first and maintaining the child's privacy. People often use labels to refer to children, and these labels are often hurtful. We will discuss ways to avoid labels and use strength-based descriptions instead. We will also discuss ways to welcome children into your home and community, and we'll discuss some brief case studies of ways to manage intrusive questions. In this section, we'll talk about using strength-based descriptions instead of labels, and the importance of checking in regularly with the child. Children who have been adopted have come from traumatic pasts. It is important to understand that society sometimes labels children, and even parents have used descriptors that can feel stigmatizing and derogatory. Look at these photos as I read the following words: foster child, crazy, drug baby, clingy, abandoned, trashy, beaten. You may have noticed that these labels do not feel good. They hurt in the short term and deeply continue to hurt and affect children in the long term. So why are labels hurtful? They're stigmatizing, and stigmas often carry painful, lifelong effects. They do not take into account the many different parts of a person, and they're generally inaccurate. They do not allow for individuals to be unique. They change the way we think about them, and we end up not giving them a fair chance. They disregard what has happened to them as valid or not their fault, and probably quite painful. And yet we all use labels because they're easy and come to mind quickly since we've heard those words before. They offer quick fixes for what are usually more complex situations, one where perhaps there are more questions than answers. They are often accompanied by judgment, rejection, and/or strong feelings. They are hurtful and can also change the way we approach someone because labels carry assumptions. An example might be calling a person damaged because they have experienced abuse. The reality is, the person is not damaged, but certainly has been hurt. Painful words can last a lifetime and can add to that pain. So it is important that we are careful with the words we choose. Instead of using these labels, let's focus on the human being as a person and always start with a person's strengths. Let's use accurate descriptions and acknowledge a person's experiences. Be gentle on ourselves. No one has all the right answers. And remember, we are all still growing, and every moment is a new opportunity to learn. Strength-based words that could be used instead of the stigmatizing words could be, instead of foster child, child, kid, teenager, crazy, still working on, not yet able to, challenged with, drug baby, baby who is prenatally exposed to substances, exposed in utero, born with a positive test at birth. Clingy, does better with reassurance, needs support and being soothed, loves extra cuddles. Abandoned, parents were unable to care for. Trashy, grew up in a challenged environment, had a hard start in life, had a lot of cards stacked against them. Beaten, hurt, experienced great pain, survivor. People you know and people you don't may be endlessly curious or even fearful about children in foster care or who are adopted. They are probably not intending to be hurtful or use labels or make assumptions. It will be up to you as the parent to protect the child by protecting their information and protecting them from language that may be hurtful to them. And if the child is present, remember you are modeling how to respond in the appropriate language to describe circumstances. It will be an important role for you as the parent to check in with the child regularly about what questions they are being asked, how they will choose to answer, and process the feelings connected to the questions. Using strengths-based descriptions instead of labels is the first critical step in being emotionally supportive and nurturing. Words count a lot, so you will always want to ensure that you are referencing the child with strengths-based language and helping others around you, such as your family, school, neighbors, coaches, to do the same. If you are adopting an older child, you will need to make them feel welcome in your home and community. Here we will talk about ways to make children feel welcome, and also work on ways to manage intrusive questions that can be awkward, embarrassing, or hurtful for the child. As we've been discussing, our words matter and how a child will adjust and feel about being in your care. When a child first comes to live with you, be sure to discuss what words they and your family members will use to describe each other and their circumstances to others. In this class, you will find a parent tip sheet called Talking About How We Describe Ourselves, which will help you form strength-based phraseology. In addition to active conversations that help the child feel included into your family, it's also powerful to send nonverbal messages to the child that your home is a safe place of welcome and belonging. Creating a safe home environment goes a long way. Simple actions like putting photos of the child up in your home in the early stages of placement and hanging up their artwork and schoolwork in the house also help to enhance feelings of belonging. Let's watch a clip from the movie Instant Family and think about how we would respond if we were the adopting parents at the table.